I get asked a lot what I'm currently consuming, what my diet is currently like. Now the viewfinder or the lens for this computer is way up high, so I'm just gonna look straight instead of looking up the whole time. But I get asked again, you guys, what is my diet currently like? What do I eat? And I've answered this in previous videos here on YouTube, but I figured I'd make another one just to touch bases because again, this is a question I get asked quite often. My diet revolves around, first and foremost, absolute veganism. I don't consume animal products of any kind. I don't consume bee products. I consume nothing from an animal, you name it. A lot of people seem to think, oh, why don't you eat bee products? They're so healthy for you, this and that. There's a lot of incredible research on the health benefits of bee products. Personally, I don't like the way honey tastes. I've experimented with it in the past, and it's just not for me. Royal jelly, bee pollen, all this stuff, massive amounts of nutrition in it. I don't personally need it. I do better on a vegan diet. I've done the whole vegan thing, which is, it's kind of a contradiction, the term vegan, where it's a vegan who consumes bee products, hence vegan. That's just not for me. In my opinion, veganism seeks to eliminate the consumption of things even like bee products. They're just not, I don't like the way that the bees are treated, you name it, so I personally stay away from them. But aside from that, my diet consumes of vegetables, fruits, grains, nuts, seeds, algae, healthy, some pasta here and there, and some tofu and some mock meat here and there. The majority of what I consume is vegetables. Now, luckily, I have access to a homegrown garden, a garden here in California, and I get to eat a lot of really highly energetic fruits and vegetables right off the vine. Blueberries, tomatoes, jalapenos, scotch bonnets, naga viper peppers, you name it. Cabbage, homegrown broccoli, homegrown cauliflower, you name it. So I try to personally eat as much homegrown food as I can. But to summarize the question and to answer it properly, vegetables, fruits, healthy grains, beans, nuts, seeds, some tofu here and there, some mock meat on occasion, but the majority of my intake is from primarily vegetables and beans. So a lot of people may say that sounds awfully bland. Well, not to me. I had to train myself to get away from the excitement and the overstimulation of the standard American diet. You see, many people think a vegan diet is going to be bland because they're so used to eating the overly exciting, stimulating foods from the standard American diet system. They're so used to that they think that real food actually tastes bland. You see, you've had your senses conned, ladies and gentlemen, whereby most people in the West scoff at the idea of veganism. They scoff at the idea of consuming more raw fruits, raw vegetables, cooked vegetables, you name it. Oh, that's bland. That's got to be gross. How are you getting your protein? This and that. You see, many people eat meat to derive the protein content out of it, but they fail to realize that the cow, for instance, the cow it's a raw vegan. The cow eats a vegan diet and it develops massive amounts of protein. The cows are very strong. Gorillas are raw vegans. They don't eat meat, and look at how strong a gorilla is. I don't need to consume a dead carcass to derive protein when I can go right to the source, like the cow, and consume the raw vegetation. Our digestive system resembles nothing like an actual carnivore out in nature. Our digestive system resembles that of a frugivore. So personally, I consume more vegetables than fruit. However, when I have access to homegrown fruit, I love it. My body type does not resonate well with most store-bought fruits. I can, however, get by on store-bought vegetables. My body reacts much better to store-bought vegetables than actually store-bought fruits for some reason. So out here in California, in the garden, I have access to homegrown blueberries, homegrown strawberries. I have access to homegrown apricots, homegrown figs. These are the types of fruits that I like to eat. People ask me all the time, why do you eat more vegetables than fruits? Personally, I like vegetables better, unless they're homegrown fruits. But here in the Matrix, unless you have a lot of land and a lot of free time to grow your own fruits, it's not as easy to consume a massive amount of homegrown fruit. But again, just to keep things simple, you guys, responding to the question, what is your diet currently like? I consume vegetables, fruits, healthy grains, beans, some pasta here and there, a little bit of tofu from time to time, and some mock meat on occasion. Now, many people will say, oh, you eat tofu? Well, it's so horrible. Have you actually counter-researched the claims that soy is bad for you? Have you? Because if you actually counter-research the claims that soy is bad for you, you'll find a large body of data, a large body of studies showing that soy and its amino acid complex is actually very beneficial if it's organic soy to the human physiology. And yes, there's too much. You can consume too much soy, but you can consume too much celery. Too much of a good thing oftentimes is a bad thing. It's all about moderation. That's what I've learned over the years. I also consume flowers. I consume tea, quite a bit of tea, herbs, extracts, again, algae. I love algae. I love spirulina. I love Aphanosomum flossaqua blue-green algae from Klamath Lake, Oregon, also known as AFA blue-green algae. My diet consists of things that grow from the earth. My diet completely excludes the consumption of dead animals. I don't need that in my life. I've been on both sides of the scale, ladies and gentlemen. I know what it's like to consume a standard American diet, high in dairy, high in processed goods, sugar, processed carbohydrates, high in animal meat. I know what it's like to be on that side of the scale. And I know what it's like to be on the side of the scale that I'm at now, where I consume fruits, vegetables, natural things, things that grow from the earth. I feel so much better on a vegan diet. Not to mention, my life has gone nowhere but upwards since I became a vegan. My emotional state is grounded. I'm more in touch with my feelings. My senses are more stimulated. My mental senses, my tactile senses, my thoughts are sharper. I also consume certain supplements. I forgot to mention that. Supplementation is a critical part of my lifestyle, my diet. And I don't believe that veganism is a diet, it's a lifestyle. It's kind of a religion of sorts because it seeks to eliminate suffering. And that's a very spiritual thing. That's a very holy thing. To take yourself out of the picture and do what's right instead of just catering to your own selfish desires. So many people are eating dead animals when they're not even hungry. Most people are thirsty. Most people will consume 3 meals a day of cooked, denatured, mineral-depleted, enzyme-devoid, vitamin-stripped foods every day, 3 times a day, and they actually think that they need that. You're destroying your body. You're creating advanced glycation end products. You're creating You're creating a manipulated pH in your system. You're depleting your body of oxygen. With all the polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons and the carcinogens in meat, not to mention the meat you're consuming, most likely contains hormones, antibiotics, and vaccines. The meat was treated horribly. On top of that, do you know that there's antibiotics, again, in the meat? A large percentage of the antibiotics that are produced here in the Matrix are given to livestock. And we all know that you are what you eat. So when you consume something, it becomes part of your essence. It becomes part of your protoplasm. The meat that you're consuming contains a large multitude of dangerous constituents, but people think they need it. It's all programming, ladies and gentlemen. The food pyramid got you at a young age. You see, how you were raised by your parents dictates how you view your diet to a large extent, lifestyle. So unless you have some way of questioning how you were brought up, chances are you're still following the outdated logic that you absorbed in your early years from being around parents that taught you that you need to eat meat, or being around friends that taught you that, oh, you need animal products, this and that. Excuse me. Just got a message. I was checking that. Well, what a joke. If I can do it, anyone can do it. I'm not telling you to become vegan. I'm telling you what's worked for me and what continues to work for me and what continues to work for thousands and thousands of people. My wife's a vegan. It's very beneficial. Excuse me, my nose itches. It's so beneficial. I mean, if you're a vegan, you really want to try to find yourself a vegan partner. Once you find a vegan partner and you're both on the same page with your diet, it becomes like this perfect circle, so to speak, metaphorically speaking. You become a team. You become a force to be reckoned with. You're constantly lifting each other up because veganism and health go hand in hand. A lot of vegans are in non-vegan relationships, and I feel sorry for you. Apparently there's some vegans that are okay with their partners eating meat. Personally, I'm not like that. I don't vibe like that. I would not be with a non-vegan. It means too much to me. It's the foundation of my life. You see, what you eat, what you consume on a daily basis is basically the foundation of your life, because this is energy. You're absorbing energy, and the energy that you consume and absorb, the energy that you're around, that you interact with, you name it, becomes part of you. It becomes part of you. And I'm not going to put myself in situations where the energy that I'm around is contradictory to my own personal energy, if that makes sense. So the whole vegan thing, many people have been duped. They think it's so complicated. They approach veganism whereby they believe that by doing so, they're going to have some type of deficiency. I hate to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this video and you're on a standard American diet, you're deficient. For some reason, everyone thinks that, oh, if I go vegan, I'm going to become deficient by default. No, you're already deficient, and oftentimes veganism just exposes you to your deficiencies that you've accumulated and developed over the years of living in this matrix. So I personally supplement, but even when I started becoming a vegan and when I didn't supplement, I felt so much healthier than I did when I was a standard American. You see, people think a standard American diet or the food pyramid logic will just blot out deficiencies, whereby if you follow this system, you'll have everything you need. I hate to tell you, but you're consuming things on a standard American diet that are destroying your life, destroying your health. You're making deficiencies by eating excessive amounts of animal meat, animal protein, animal products. Not to mention, on top of that, you're creating addictions because these foods are highly addicting, especially the dairy, especially the cheese. That's predicated upon the fact that cheese contains the casomorphins, which affects the brain like an opioid, an opiate. In the past, when I first started experimenting with changing my lifestyle, I became plant-based. And when I started, I excluded all animal products for about 2 months. And then one day, for some reason, I messed up and I had a piece of cheese. And because I had been away from the cheese for so long, when I reintroduced it into my body, I could really gauge how it made me feel, and I felt high on a drug. Cheese numbs the senses. It makes you feel high. It makes you feel grounded in a false way. That's why people are addicted to it. Why? Ask yourself why people are addicted to cow snot, pus, you name it. This is what cheese is. Animal secretions that are aged. It's disgusting when you really think about it. Not to mention that cheese smells horrible. It ruins your digestive tract. Consumption of dairy has been linked to a multitude of accelerations of premature pathologies, ailments, you name it. So people are going to do what they want to do. I hope that my channel can serve as some type of nexus where you can either gain inspiration and you're already on the path, or I can get you to think. I can throw a boomerang into the way that your mind is processing data out here in the matrix and make you think a little bit. You've got to question what you've been clinging to. We have to learn to question our algorithms. Otherwise, our algorithms destroy us. You see, in the matrix, our minds have been designed or programmed to actually work against us. That's why our minds and our emotions dictate our habits. They dictate our addictions. And your mind has been hijacked in a parasitic fashion to the point where you actually crave the things that are destroying your life. And you can't get out of this loop. You can't get out of this toxic cycle because it's highly addicting. You have to learn to sever ties. You have to realize that it's much easier to break free from your chains than to stay bound to them. Because when you're bound to your chains, you can't move. You're stuck in one spot. Don't you want to be free? I know I do. And my diet, what I consume, what I read, what I study, what I focus on is all designed to help increase my health and increase my expansion of consciousness. See, I don't just consume vegan diet. I'm not just a vegan to... The foundation of why I'm a vegan is to eliminate suffering. It's a selfless lifestyle. It's a selfless diet. But one of the beautiful things about properly administered veganism is that it also has the potential to lead to the expansion of the consciousness, because you're consuming things that reduce inflammation. You're consuming things that help the blood maintain health. You're consuming things that your body has a much easier time assimilating. The energy that it requires to break down standard American foods is 10,000-fold more intense than the energy that is required, to break down vegan foods if you consume a vegan diet properly. And there's a right and wrong way to do everything. There's vegans that consume potato chips and soda and processed vegan ice cream all the time. Although that's still vegan, it's not going to get you the most out of it, so to speak. So this lifestyle is about selflessness. It's also about expansion of consciousness. Kundalini and higher consciousness and veganism go hand in hand, because we were actually designed, whether you believe it or not, to not eat animal carcass. It's not part of our overall makeup. We don't have the teeth like carnivores to rip apart raw meat. We don't have the digestive system. We don't have the type of digestive acids. We don't have the type of gastric fortitude to constantly be consuming meat. So I'm going to wrap this one up. Again, you guys, to just answer it one more time, I consume fruits, vegetables, healthy grains, nuts, beans, seeds, herbs. I supplement. And I talk more about my lifestyle, and I show recipes and things like that over on my Patreon page at www.patreon.com/sacredserpent. For $5 a month, you can become a monthly subscriber and gain access to multiple hours of video content that you will never find here on the public YouTube channel. I have multiple hours. I produced more than 8.5 hours of content just this month for the Patreon page. And every month I'm doing at least 2 hours of content. But there was over 8 hours this month. This is an investment for your health. There's a $5 subscription, there's a $15 or $25 subscription up. All of them, however, if you get a $5 subscription, you guys, it gives you the same amount of video content and access to me through private messenger as the more expensive subscriptions. The more expensive subscriptions, there's just a few other perks that you don't get with the $5 subscription. For instance, the Supreme Access Silver subscription gets you all the benefits of the $5 subscription, but you get a private video about whatever you want to hear me talk about sent to you every month of your subscription. And these are private videos. I send them to you in private format. You can download them, and then I delete them after about 5 days to get them off the web. Even though they're private, I like to do that. I like to get them off the web. But you can download them to a hard drive, a hard disk, flash drive, you name it. The $25 a month subscription offers the benefits of the $15 subscription, but there's a few other reward perks. So I'm just plugging my subscription. I'm plugging my website because I believe in the power of my message, and I believe that you can derive benefit from becoming a member. However, if you don't want to, I have hours and hours and hours of public content here on the YouTube channel, and I'll always produce free content. I offer my Patreon page as an extension to my public channel for people who want to get some more intimate information and want to have direct access to me where they can hear back from me in a timely manner. So on behalf of your health, on behalf of the planetary reawakening, I don't want to call it planetary, excuse me. My thoughts on that have changed. On behalf of your health, on behalf of the worldwide reawakening of Kundalini, on behalf of the liberation of animals from genocide, on behalf of this world becoming peaceful, peace be with you all.